morning to all. Today's class is pituitary gland. Okay, introduction. So pituitary gland is most common endocrine gland. Its weight is 0.5 gram. As you can see, it is having one anterior lobe and posterior lobe. Anterior lobe is known as adenohypophysis. Posterior lobe is known as neurohypophysis. Now, the first thing, location. It is situated in the hypophyseal fossa. Here, there is a fossa on superior surface of body of sphenoid, which is known as either sella turcica or hypophyseal fossa. Why we are saying hypophyseal fossa? Because it is the one which is housing the pituitary gland. Okay, then it is suspended from the floor of third ventricle. Okay, like this. It is suspended by a narrow stalk that is known as infundibulum. Okay, you can see here it is suspended here. You can see here this is suspended, so from floor of fourth ventricle. So this is the suspending thing is known as infundibulum. It is enclosed within the dural sheath. You can see here it is the dural sheath which is covering from below also and from above also. So the upper wall of this dural sheath, which is known as diaphragma sella, which is being perforated by the infundibulum or stalk. Okay, so you can see this stalk or infundibulum will be piercing the diaphragma sella. Okay, this is the diaphragma sella. Remember, there are three things. What is sella turcica? Sella turcica is the bony cavity or the bony fossa or the hypophyseal fossa where the pituitary gland is located. Okay, just a second. Yeah, so what three things you have to remember? First is what is sella turcica, what is infundibulum, and what is the diaphragma sella. So diaphragma sella is the upper wall of the dural sheath. Okay, the dura mater here, the upper wall, which is forming a diaphragm like structure separating the pituitary gland from rest of the brain. Fine. So that is, here you can see what is sella turcica, what is infundibulum, and what is diaphragma sella. Now relation. So this is the pituitary gland. See superior relation here, somewhere here, or if I show you, this is if you are seeing from the side view. Okay, and here you can see from the side view. You can see from the side view. You can see here from behind and from above. So superiorly there is optic chiasma which is separated from the rest of the pituitary by here, that is diaphragma sella. Inferiorly you can see here there is sphenoid air sinus with a thin bony plate will be there which is separating this fossa from the sphenoid air sinus. Find this thin bony plate. On either side you can see here one blue color structure within which something yellow and red is there. So this blue color structure is dural venous sinus. Within this red color structure is internal carotid artery, and these yellow color structures are different nerves. What you can see, third, fourth, that is oculomotor, trochlear, in the lateral wall of the cavernous sinus, then ophthalmic and maxillary division of trigeminal nerve. Then these are present in the lateral wall of the cavernous sinus, and within the lumen or within the cavity of the cavernous sinus you can see internal carotid artery and another this yellow structure, that is sixth cranial nerve, that is abducens nerve. Fine. Now what are the subdivision of the pituitary gland? So pituitary gland, as I told you, there is anterior lobe, posterior lobe. Anterior lobe is known as adenohypophysis, posterior lobe is known as neurohypophysis. Okay, now Adenohypophysis is developed as a diverticulum. As a diverticulum, just see carefully. This diverticulum is the which is coming from the ectodermal roof of the stomodium. So this red color structure, okay, this red color structure is the roof of the developing oral cavity. So it is developing as a diverticulum, it is going above. It is going superiorly. This pouch is known as Rathke's pouch. Fine. So this is forming the adenohypophysis. Okay. Adenohypophysis means anterior lobe. Okay. Now something is this blue color which is coming from above. So this is coming as a down growth from floor of diencephalon. So this is forming the neurohypophysis. Now you can see here is the developing neuroectoderm and oropharynx ectoderm. Now out of that something came from above to downwards, something from below went upwards. The thing which is coming from upwards going downward is the blue color structure, that is the down growth from the floor of diencephalon. It is forming the neurohypophysis because it is situated posteriorly here, and here you can see something which is coming as a diverticulum from the roof of the developing oral cavity. Another name for developing oral cavity is stomodium, and this will be forming the adenohypophysis. Okay. Now, what are the different parts of adenohypophysis and neurohypophysis? So you see here, this blue color structure is light blue, or you can say gray color. This is adenohypophysis and or anterior lobe. This is neurohypophysis, or this is posterior lobe. This anterior lobe is further divided into this large part that is known as pars anterior. Then this part which is a gap-like structure which is known as pars intermedia, and here the part which is present in the infundibulum, that is known as pars tuberalis. Now behind you are seeing this brown color structure, that is neurohypophysis, with the consisting of this large part known as pars posterior and this part which is hanging from upwards, that is infundibulum. Okay. Now what are the hormones secreted by different parts of pituitary gland? So you see pars anterior, pars posterior and intermediate. There is pars intermedia. You can see here, this one is pars intermedia. So pars anterior have two types of cell, acidophil cells and basophil cells. Acidophils means they are staining with the acidic dye. Basophils, that means they are staining with the basic dye. Okay. So acidophil here is the which are staining with the acidic dye. So what are the hormones secreted by these acidophilic cells or from pars anterior? One is growth hormone, another is prolactin. Okay. What are the hormones secreted by the basophils? One is ACTH, that is adrenocorticotropic hormone, another is thyrotropic hormone, another is gonadotropic hormone. Pars intermedia will be secreting melanocyte stimulating hormone. Pars posterior getting hormone from two places. One is supraoptic nucleus of hypothalamus, another one is paraventricular nucleus of hypothalamus. So they will be forming the hormone, and that will be hormone is vasopressin or antidiuretic hormone and oxytocin. Now you can see here, this part is posterior pituitary or posterior pituitary or neurohypophysis. This is this is anterior pituitary or adenohypophysis. So one, it will be secreting the thyrotropic cells which will be secreting thyroid stimulating hormone. Then mammotrophic cells, they will be secreting the prolactin. Then corticotrophic cells will be secreting ACTH, adrenocorticotropic hormone. Then here they will be secreting, the somatotropic cells will be secreting growth hormone. Gonadotropic cells also will be secreting here follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone, and pars intermedia cells will secrete melanocyte stimulating hormone. Okay. Now what are the functional connection with the hypothalamus? So there are two connections. One is hypothalamo-hypophyseal tract. Okay. So hypothalamo-hypophyseal tracts means there is nerve fibers which are arising from the hypothalamus reaching the pituitary gland. So these nerve fibers arise from the supraoptic and paraventricular nucleus of hypothalamus. They are projecting into posterior lobe or neurohypophysis. Two hormones are produced. Okay, one is vasopressin and ADH, that is antidiuretic hormone. Another is oxytocin. They are produced and transported by nerve fibers of this tract. Okay, so these hormones will be stored in the nerve terminals, that is known as herring bodies. Okay, and these hormones are released in the venous sinusoid whenever they are needed. Okay, now you see here two nucleus are there. One is supraoptic nucleus, that is secreting oxytocin. Another is periventricular nucleus, that is secreting oxytocin, the ADH or vasopressin. Now, via these nerve fibers, they are reaching the neurohypophysis or posterior pituitary, and they will be reaching here, and via this venous flow, they will be released. Remember, the oxytocin and ADH or vasopressin, they are not synthesized in the here. They are not synthesized in the neurohypophysis. They are actually synthesized in the supraoptic nucleus and paraventricular nucleus of hypothalamus. So this tract is hypothalamo-hypophyseal tract. Okay. Another is hypothalamo-hypophyseal portal system. Okay. Now you have seen this is the tract, that means connected via the neurons. Here you are seeing portal system. It consists of two set of capillaries, one in hypothalamus, that is inside the median eminence, and other in hypophysis cerebri, that is in the sinusoids of pars anterior, that is belonging to anterior lobe or adenohypophysis. So neurons of hypothalamus will produce hormone releasing factor in capillaries of median eminence and upper part of infundibulum, that will be carried by the portal system to pars anterior, where they will stimulate to release appropriate hormone. Okay, now you see here from hypothalamus and the part of the median eminence, there will be the regulating hormone which will be released here into this portal system. From this portal system, the hormones will reach here the anterior pituitary or the adenohypophysis. So here the cells, whatever acidophil cells or basophil cells we have told already, they will be stimulating to release the different hormones, either it is growth hormone or prolactin or FSH, that is follicle stimulating hormone, or luteinizing hormone, or thyrotropic hormone. Okay, the thyroid stimulating hormone. Okay, and then what is blood supply? So arterial supply is supplied by two arteries. One is superior hypophyseal artery, another is inferior hypophyseal artery. Superior and inferior hypophyseal artery both are branches of internal carotid artery. So you see here the superior hypophyseal artery will be forming an external plexus and an internal plexus. So two plexus, one plexus will be here, one will be here. Okay, so they will form long and short portal veins, and they will be going into the sinusoids of anterior pituitary. Another is inferior hypophyseal artery. So inferior hypophyseal artery will form capillary bed around the infundibular stalk, and from there it will be reaching to the posterior pituitary. Here you can see this is in the posterior pituitary, here in the anterior pituitary. Okay, so that is about the inferior hypophyseal artery. Here what is the venous drainage? So you can see this. So short veins from pituitary gland, they will be drained into the nearby venous sinus. What are the venous sinus present? One is cavernous sinus, another is intercavernous sinus. And hormone will be passing out of the gland via the venous blood to target sites. Okay. Now what is the applied anatomy? So you can see first thing is craniopharyngioma. Craniopharyngioma means the remnants of Rathke's pouch giving rise to tumor inside the sphenoid bone. Here you can see the tumor is within the sphenoid bone, that is known as craniopharyngioma. Another is pharyngeal hypophysis. So sometime what happens, some part of Rathke's pouch is still present in the roof of the nasopharynx, and that will be forming accessory lobe of anterior lobe of the pituitary gland in the pharyngeal wall, that is known as pharyngeal hypophysis. Then what is pituitary aplasia? That means the pituitary gland is not developed. You can see there is no pituitary gland here. Okay. Then what is Sheehan syndrome? So within Sheehan syndrome, what happens in females, pregnant ladies, after the delivery there is postpartum hemorrhage. Because of the postpartum hemorrhage, there will be hypotension. Now this hypotension will be there, and during pregnancy the pituitary will be enlarged. Okay. So there is one reason is because pituitary is enlarged. Second thing is because of hemorrhage there will be hypertension. Another thing is post delivery there will be disseminated intravascular coagulation. So because of all these factors there will be postpartum pituitary necrosis. There will be damage to the pituitary gland. Because of that there will be amenorrhea, there will be lactation failure, there will be secondary adrenal insufficiency, there will be hypothyroidism. Why it happened? Because pituitary damage has happened, and because of all those hormones, whether FSH, LH, prolactin, or the growth hormone or thyroid stimulating hormone, all stopped releasing. Okay, they are not formed. Then what is hyperpituitarism? Hyperpituitarism means the pituitary gland is increased in size. Okay, so that means pituitary gland is increased in size, so increased hormone secretion will be there. Okay, so this is occurred due to the pituitary adenoma. So what will happen if the hormone in anterior pituitary will increase? So there can be gigantism, there can be acromegaly, there can be Cushing's disease. What if the hormone increased in the posterior pituitary? So it will lead to SIADH. It is known as syndrome of inappropriate ADH secretion. Okay, so what is gigantism? Here you can see this guy. So growth hormone hypersecretion is occurring before closure of hypophysis. So they will be having very long arm, very long leg. Okay, stature will be 7 to 8 feet. There will be weakness, there will be hyperglycemia, there will be headache, nausea, visual disturbances. This is gigantism. Another is acromegaly. You can see the acromegaly here. The growth hormone hypersecretion is happening after growth plate cartilage is formed. So you can see the face will be like a gorilla. They will be having large hand, large fingers. Okay. Then Cushing's disease. So remember, acromegaly and gigantism is because of increased secretion of growth hormone. But Cushing disease is due to increased secretion of ACTH, that is adenocorticotropic hormone. So that will be characterized by truncal obesity. What other feature will be there? There will be personality changes, there will be hyperglycemia, there will be CNS irritability, the face will be moon face, there will be susceptibility to infection, there will be sodium and fluid retention. In males there can be gynecomastia, there will be extremities will be thin, then there will be fat deposition, there can be osteoporosis, there can be females will be having amenorrhea, hirsutism. So these are features of Cushing's disease. Remember, Cushing disease is due to increased secretion of ACTH, that is adenocorticotropic hormone. Then what is SIADH? SIADH means syndrome of inappropriate ADH secretion, that is hypersecretion of this is antidiuretic hormone or vasopressin. So this will lead to dilutional hyponatremia. That means so much of fluid retention will be there, and so the level of sodium will be reduced. It will also, they will characterized by nausea, generalized weakness and lethargy. Also there will be tumor of hypothalamus, and there can be small cell lung carcinoma. Okay. Then what is hypopituitarism? I already told what is hyperpituitarism. Hypopituitarism means a reduced hormonal secretion from the pituitary gland. So what will happen if there is reduced secretion from the anterior pituitary? So it can result in either dwarfism, acromicria or Simmons disease. And posterior pituitary, if hormone is decreased, if ADH secretion is reduced, it will lead to DI, that is diabetes insipidus. So you can see dwarfism, the disproportionately short stature will be there. They are usually because of panhypopituitarism, means all the hormones secreted by the pituitary gland, they are reduced. Okay. Then what is the diabetes insipidus? It is due to deficiency of ADH, that is antidiuretic hormone. I told you what was SIADH, that is increased secretion of ADH. What is diabetes insipidus? This is due to deficiency of ADH, that is antidiuretic hormone. So here the lesion will be in supraoptic and paraventricular nucleus of hypothalamus. There can be atrophy of posterior pituitary, that is neurohypophysis. Okay, so this is about pituitary gland. Thank you. Okay.